Let's leave everything and go traveling. See what tomorrow brings. It's only a choice away. Let's back up and leave today. Let's see what tomorrow brings.
We got a few groceries and said goodbye to beautiful Cuenca.
So we are driving from Cuenca to Loja. Loja looked like a tiny town on the map, but people in Cuenca, sorry, very sketchy road, very sketchy passing going on here. And I'm back. We're driving from Cuenca to Loja in Ecuador, and we just wanted to talk about Cuenca really quick, to kind of sum it up, because we didn't really talk much while we were there. What did you think of it?
I thought it was really cool. Definitely a lot of like expats and gringos, which always it brings a little bit of home, I guess, to the city. So that's always nice. And at the same time, you kind of get bummed sometimes.
It's tough because it enhances the town and slightly ruins it, right? When you're walking around and there's gringos everywhere. I mean, still more locals probably than gringos, but you're realizing how big of an expat town this is. But, you know, you have a great hamburger and fries and a really good micro beer. And
I want to do more research on the city because it seemed like it has a ton of history.
Okay, so quick history on Cuenca. It was originally a Cañari settlement that archaeologists believe was founded around 500 AD. Eventually, the Incas conquered the area. They renamed the city Tomebamba, which became a regional capital known as the Second Cusco. Because of this, around 1470, the Inca emperor ordered the construction of a grand city to be built here called Pumapango, which, when it was complete, apparently rivaled Cusco's beauty. Indians told stories to the Spanish of golden temples and other crazy stuff, but by the time the Spaniards found the legendary city, all that remained were ruins, making Cuenca a candidate for the mythical city of El Dorado. Anyways, the Spanish settlement of Cuenca was founded on April 12, 1557, and it was an important city for the country. Nowadays, Cuenca is known for its textiles, furniture, and they even export flowers to the United States and many countries in Europe. And funny enough, we found out the hats we know as Panama hats are in fact made in Cuenca.
So if you come to Ecuador, I would say you've got to run down to Cuenca. It's totally worth it. You know, you can go hike Chimborazo and Cotopaxi on the way because you pass those as you head to it. There's only what do you think, a 2.5 hour drive, 3 hour drive from Quito?
It wasn't
that bad.
Too bad.
But we were just saying how, and it, you know, we know this depends on where you go within a town. So, you know, this is not a scientific experiment, but what do you think the number one nationality was that we met in Cuenca?
I'd say like the workforce, Venezuelans.
Yeah.
And then
everywhere we went was like the servers of the restaurant. I think it's the right way here.
Yeah, all traffic is supposed to go this way.
But I mean, Venezuelans everywhere. Young Venezuelans, super educated. One guy had been in Colorado.
Yeah, they all spoke really decent English.
Really good English. And just working their tails off. Really interesting.
And it was interesting to see driving once we left Cuenca how big it was.
Yeah.
Because it felt kind of small towny where you could still walk a bunch of places and most people were walking places, so it didn't have quite the same feel as like Quito where you jump in a taxi
and you know you're in the big city.
So
that was awesome. We loved it. The history was immense in Cuenca.
I have to say I think Quito has been the first city in Ecuador, you know, Cuenca, those areas have been the first places that for me I could actually live there. Probably not permanently, but a place where you go,
I'd go for 4 or 5 years or something. I mean, and there's still a big pull to the conveniences of home, but I get it. But that's a random update.
Bye.
From Cuenca, we drove for a few hours and then started looking for somewhere to camp for the night. And we eventually came across this little dirt road that we thought might lead to a cell tower. wanted to show you guys what it looks like after we get done being in a town and we haven't been in the car and we just got groceries and everything is a mess. So this is what it looks like when we get back into the truck. A huge mess because we've been digging through to get stuff out of the truck. We've got new groceries. So now we have groceries and it's time to get everything organized and put back in its place.
Hours later.
I love mornings like this. I crawl downstairs, make some coffee, and have my own time. I take in the view, sometimes I read, listen to a podcast, edit videos, or write. It sounds silly, but it truly is these little routines that I cherish when living on the road. These are the things I missed most when we went home. It's tight living in a truck like Goose. Not very glamorous, sometimes tiring, and yes, often frustrating. But I wouldn't trade it.
Okay, pardon the squinting, it's really bright, but I figured this is a good spot to talk about a little tip on finding campsites. Towers and tower little buildings. If you see those on tops of hills, we've had a lot of luck with that, even in the US, Mexico, everywhere. A lot of times the road up to them will have a fence or will be blocked if you're near a city, because that's kind of the place that I'm sure teenagers go to drink and hang out and stuff like that. But once you're in the countryside, they almost never do. This one had no tire tracks on the road whatsoever. So you know nobody really comes up here except to do maintenance maybe once a month, once a year, who knows. So this is a great little campsite. Another good option that you can see down there is quarries, so rock quarries. Sometimes, again, they're really private and they've got a gate at it. Not going to mess with those. Other times you'll just see where maybe locals in the town are coming out to grab some gravel, and usually there's a pile or something you can kind of hide behind and camp. This one's just perfect. You can see we're tucked right in amongst the trees, and perfect campsite. So when you see these, generally check them out, see if it's a spot we could camp. So there you go, pro tip.
After a relaxing morning, we packed up and found ourselves in a bit of a pickle. When we had arrived the night before, we had come to this point where the trail split, and we decided to take the upper route, which was steep and had some off-camber washouts, so we knew it wasn't going to be a good option for the way out. But after walking the lower road, which was relatively flat, we decided it would make a good exit. What we didn't count on was the mud. When walking it, we weren't heavy enough to break through to the mud below, but turns out Goose was.
balance and not sliding. I was really worried about this hill.
Yeah.
Starting to go towards it. But front locker won't engage. I always talk about how once you sort out AirB lines, they're like good forever. It's just that first install. But I guess after
We haven't had any
8 years,
problems,
no, I know. Who knows what bumped it, right? We're hitting so much random stuff. Rear seems to be locking, but if I try and go to the front, then both don't have enough air because there's so much escaping from probably where the connection is. So we'll play around with that later.
We got racing slicks right now.
We do have complete racing slicks. Now we're fully aired up. We could air down as well, and that would make a big difference. So we can kind of choose what we want to do, whether we want to winch, max tracks, or air down.
You want to give it one more run and then
Probably pull a little winch line.
see how high you can get, and then I'll just pull from there. Well, the front's not locking up, which we'll have to take a look at once we're off the mud, but we got as high as we can, and now I think we'll just pull a quick winch. All right, I'm ready.
After a quick think, we had a plan, re-rigged the winch, and got back to work.
Can have you come a little bit further, and then I'll have you release so we can go to another tree. A little bit. Switch out a little bit. Stop. Okay, go ahead and see if you can drive forward. Do the rear locker first. Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop. Just gotta keep winching. Okay, go ahead and kill it. Winch out, winch out, winch out. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop. Nice, babe. Nice. That's perfect. It was so side angle, it was crazy, but it was still enough to just keep going. Okay.
in case we need a winch again, we'll just keep everything as it is. There, let him out. There you go. Beautiful. And stop. Nice, babe. Woo!
Nothing like a quick morning workout. Huh, Tim?
Good times.
Just a short muddy hill, and we didn't want to get the max tracks out because muddy max tracks suck. But not bad. It's actually pretty fun to do that when it's not high risk. When it's high risk, it's a little bit more stressful, but when it's just got to get up a muddy hill, it feels good.
Yeah, it does. I think it's nice too when we're actually just using it for ourselves and stuff and going, which toy should I use? Should I air down? Should I use max tracks? Should I use the winch? And then we got to the point where we couldn't reach another tree, so we're like, well, second option, which is least pain in the butt. Airing down and airing back up, getting max tracks under there. But then when I love max tracks, but when you get them filled with mud,
suck.
they weigh, it's not double, it's 50 times.
Yeah, and then
what they
putting
weigh.
them away and cleaning them up, it sucks. But
so thankfully we didn't have to air down or use the max tracks. We had a crazy oblique pull, fancy word for really, really sideways.
yeah,
And we're almost pulling at like a dead angle. It was just enough forward from the truck, which is here. And it was kind of pulling the truck a little like this, but it was getting us the progress up. And then the tires hit some bedrock, it looks like, and we were good.
yeah, and it doesn't hurt that it's like a gorgeous day right now.
And I feel like we're in Colorado.
Yeah,
Giant
so-
pine trees everywhere. We just
so
watched
nice.
a dog, well, Kelsey really saw it
Yeah.
more than me. A dog chasing a full buck with like, must have been a 10-point buck.
Yeah, I just heard a dog like, like all excited, and I looked down and there's this deer running as the dog.
All I
chases
saw
it.
is the rack and then the tail flagging, the white
It was
tail.
big, it was crazy.
Jumping into the woods and disappearing.
So cool. All right.
All right, let's put
Onward.
the toys away. Cool. Okay, winch in. Keep going. Keep it going. Tiny bump. One more. Perfect. Nice, babe.
We made it back to the road a little more muddy than when we left it and continued on our way. Stuff like this we never wish for or seek out, but when it does happen, it's nice to know we have the skills and tools to get out of it, and in the end, it's fun to work as a team. Thanks for watching, and come along next time as we cook some steak and see what Carnival is all about as we continue heading south.
I did it first.